what is going on in the stock market today, especially with some of our favorite stocks. Well, that is what we are going to get into here in this video. But most importantly, I want to talk about the FOMC minutes that are being released probably a half an hour after you guys watch this video at 2 p.m. today. We're going to get a lot of information. Specifically, here's what the FOMC minutes are. FOMC minutes provide more detailed information on the range of committee members' views on the appropriate policy stance, on the economic outlook, and on the near-term monetary policy inclination. So we are going to get more information on what the Fed plans to do at the next meeting. We're going to get more economic information about how the U.S. economy is doing, and we're going to get the views of different Fed members. Fed Bullard, Fed Wallard, Fed Daly, Fed Jerome Powell. These guys, they vote on what to do with Fed policy. So at the last meeting, they all voted, should we do 50 or 75 basis points or 1%? They all give their votes. And depending on who voted for or against what happened at the last meeting will be important, because historically, you don't really get a lot of people that dissent overall. Let's just say 10 members voted yes on the rate hike last meeting. Let's say one member voted no. That's not a huge deal. It does show a little bit of discrepancy between the Fed and different Fed members. If you start to get, let's call it 2 or 3 or 4 Fed members that are descending, well, that's going to show that there can be a lot of volatility within even the Fed members themselves, and they're not all on the same page with what should happen with monetary policy. And considering the stock market has rallied so aggressively over the last month or two, well, that is a big problem for the Fed, because the last thing the Fed wants is the stock market to go up so much and for inflation to remain higher, because people have more money because their stock portfolios have went up. They can get more access to capital, and overall it's not good for inflation. Now, I doubt Fed Jerome Powell thought that his comments at the last FOMC press conference would result in an over 20% rally in the stock market. I don't think he expected that, and I don't think that they want that. So I do think the Fed wants to bring the markets down. I think that's the only logical thing, heading into the FOMC minutes. After all, at the last rate hike we got, the Fed was still saying markets are overvalued, and that was when the S&P was around 380 on the SPY. Now the S&P 500 is around 430. You're essentially $50 higher almost on the S&P 500 since that last meeting. So depending on what happens, that report comes out at 2 p.m. You're going to see a big reaction to the upside or to the downside. And really, anything along the lines of the Fed not slowing down raising rates, acknowledging inflation is too high, that they're not going to slow down maybe until inflation is 4 or 3%, well, that's going to tell the markets, hey, we got a big problem going on here. And that's probably where you would see some repricing and you would see stocks falling. Now, that is a big reason why a lot of the stocks that we like to follow here on this channel are down today, including AMC, BBBY, SoFi, basically anything that is long duration growth that hopefully will be bigger companies in the future that have debt, a lot of them that are unprofitable. That's why a lot of those companies are down today. The riskiest sectors of the stock market are selling off, whereas you have something like an Apple, which is up about 1% today, even when the S&P 500 is still down 0.70% at the time of recording this video, and the NASDAQ is down almost 1.5%. Russell 2000 down about 2%. The VIX is up 2.54%, which is normal, in line with what we would expect to see if the S&P was down 0.72%. So you're definitely gonna get some things that are gonna move the markets around 2 p.m. today. That's why I want this video to come out around that, if not shortly before that. Now, you did get reports from earnings from Lowe's, and they reported mixed second quarter results, citing shortened spring that hurt sales. So not as much that do-it-yourself kind of sales that happen over at Lowe's. And Target, They took a huge hit as retailer sells off unwanted inventory, basically reiterating the same thing, that customers are not buying as many high margin products, and that was also seen as a negative thing. You did get retail sales today, which pretty much came in around expectations. It wasn't a huge deal. I don't think it really moved the markets too much. This is really a move in anticipation of the FOMC minutes that come out at 2 p.m. Now, let's talk about specifically AMC stock and everything that you guys need to know in regards to the economic data. Like I said, FOMC minutes comes out at 2 p.m. today, and then you have Fed Bowman that speaks at 2:20 p.m. You're going to see a very violent market reaction right at 2 p.m. because of the trading algos, but I would not be certain that that is the final move. If we rally off the FOMC minutes, you really have to give it at least until the end of the day, if not tomorrow, to really see what direction we're going to move in. And that's why you guys want to note the key details and the key sayings, because if the Fed, like I said, they say, yeah, we're on the right course, inflation's starting to go down, we expect less monetary tightening, less rate hikes, well, that's going to be very bullish, and I would expect a neutral, if not bullish rally off of that, even from here. If the Fed comes out and they say, hey, inflation's far too high, we're nowhere near done raising rates, and verbiage along those lines, well, you're probably going to get a negative market reaction possibly tomorrow, even if the end of the day today is positive. And we'll talk about this later on once the FOMC minutes do come out later on tonight. So stay tuned for that one. And tomorrow, you do have existing home sales for July. You do have Fed Georgia speaks at 1:20 p.m. And for Friday, you really don't have too much, not really anything at all. So that's really it as far as this week's economic data that you guys really need to know, because boy, we are going to see some very violent moves in the markets around 2 p.m. And depending how you guys are positioned, you could make a lot or lose a lot of money. I think there's a lot of potential to the upside or the downside right now, especially with the options. And now Thursday, so tomorrow, pre-market, you're going to get Kohl's, you're going to get a lot of these other companies, Estee Lauder, Tapestry. Those could be some of the bigger movers. Some other ones as well, especially Thursday and after hours. But Friday pre-market, you have John Deere, Foot Locker, Buckle, and those are going to be the last three that I really want to pay attention to, at least for this week. You have more earnings coming next week, but next week is next week, and we are not there yet, so we're not going to talk about it. Now, AMC stock is down about 11% here today. $2.29 billion worth of short positions on AMC, about 18% short interest of free float. Free float out on loan, 26.39%. Shares out on loan, 136 million. You do have days to cover at 2.92 and 100% share utilization. You also have cost to borrow max at 16.4%, cost to borrow average at 8.42%, and cost to borrow minimum at about 8%. So all in all here, guys, the data behind AMC looking pretty good, especially if we can see a bullish market reaction. If we get some bullishness out of the Fed, these riskier sectors of the stock market, the stocks that are down so much today, are likely to be the ones that recover a lot after, whereas some stocks that are leading today, you guys can look at those and say, hey, if we get a bullish market reaction, are these going to perform better than the riskier sectors? And the answer is no. Like, Apple's not going to perform better than your meme stocks or AMC or something else along those lines if you do get a risk on sentiment in the markets, because Apple is like not we can make a whole video on this, but Apple's not really the riskiest stock in the stock market. I do think Apple is very unattractive here at these prices, especially as it has rallied so much. So I do think that would pave the way for some of the quote-unquote meme stocks to really make a big rally. But if you look at Apple, I mean, this looks like the S&P chart as well. This is unsustainable. You are approaching the upper end resistance level near its all-time highs. We're only $8 off of an all-time high, less than $8 off of an all-time high for Apple. Very unsustainable, and after all, inflation is still 8.5%. So I do expect a negative reaction overall. I will just tell you guys that out of the FOMC minutes. Now, as far as what the Fed rate monitor tool is currently pricing in after the FOMC minutes today, you will get a new updated number. But as of right now, if this will ever load, We might have to come back to that. Well, it's at 37% odds for a 75 basis point rate hike, 63% odds for a 50 basis point rate hike. So not all too bad right there. If this top line continues to become a higher percentage, and it kind of has over the last couple of days. Today it's up 6% alone. Well, that's going to be a very negative thing, and the FOMC minutes will give us a lot of direction on that, and it will help to reprice the stock market, especially after you have rallied so much. Let's go ahead and see exactly how much we've rallied from the low. You've rallied about 17.5% from the low. The stock market going up like that is not helping inflation, and I think that is a big reason why the Fed will probably try to cool this market rally down to some degree or another. Now, as far as AMC stock and the option activity, you're looking at about 5,000 calls that are currently in the money and about 188,000 calls that are currently out of the money. On the put side, you have about 28,000 puts that are in the money and 102,000 puts that are out of the money. So all in all here, guys, I think if we do get a bullish reaction in the markets, AMC stock could benefit greatly from that. If you don't, then you're probably going to continue to see this sell-off, and we'll have to watch the 200-day moving average for AMC stock. That is at $20.47 per share. That will be the key level. On a bullish note, or a healthy note, I should say, the RSI is back to 59.69, closer to that neutral level of 50, even definitely under 70. So you're really not over bought anymore. Obviously, the stock's down almost 11% today. You're almost at that neutral level, and the MACD is still bullish. So if we can get that bullish reaction, I think there's potentially a lot more upside from here before the RSI would get back to those extremely overbought levels. Thus, you might see more algorithmic trading, buying actually happen with AMC stock in the event the Fed is less hawkish. And as far as the volume, at about 38 million for the day. Keep in mind, we still do have almost 2 hours left of trading, so nothing to shake your head on there. I think we're looking pretty good for AMC stock. We'll have to see what happens with the Fed minutes. This is everything you guys need to know. Hopefully you guys learned something, got some context out of all of this information. Expect that big move around 2 p.m. likely by the time you guys are seeing this video, unless you guys are quick to watch the video, then you'll see it beforehand, potentially make some money off of it. But nonetheless, that's going to be it. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Get your free stock down below with Webull, Moomoo, and Public as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you in the next one.